versus Virizion Genesect.
Yeah, and of course, get on social media. Use that hashtag #PlayPokemon. Get people talking about this event. This is a great event. We want to have as many eyes on this as possible. See how awesome competitive Pokemon is.
Absolutely. Oh, man. So I see Alejandro with that big ol' yawn to start the day. I can tell you right now, these are long tournaments. Sleep deprivation is a legitimate thing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a card game. You think there's not much physical exertion here, but a lot of ways it can be exhausting. You know, it can be mentally exhausting. You have to get up early. A lot of the times, these tournaments take all day and they go 10 o'clock at night. I mean, this is really a test of wills in some way.
Absolutely. And you might hear me go a little bit harder on Tyler and Alejandro. It's only because they're both from our area. I've played with a lot of these guys very frequently. And so it's fun when you get to watch your friends in this setting.
Oh, yeah. And I want to say Alejandro, he is one of the up-and-coming players you're talking about. He is incredibly good every time I watch him.
So consistent,
And
too.
Tyler is no slouch either, but uh-oh, he's going to start off.
Oh, boy.
With the Jirachi.
That is not how you grant wishes, ladies and gentlemen. Those who don't know, Jirachi is so good as a Pokemon that you play from your hand to the bench for his ability. But when you start it, not good.
Yeah.
And it appears right now at the layout, Alejandro is playing on the left, but you can see his face on the right, and it's flipped. Here we go. So we got Alejandro on the left, Tyler on the right now.
Right. So it looks like we have Tyler going first. He starts off with that Virizion EX. That is the absolute best starter he could ask for. You want to lead off with that so you can use that Emerald Slash. Turn 2, power up your Genesect EX, and he's really getting the best first turn he can. Skyla, he's going to grab, looks like a Muscle Band, put that on there to block any of those Team Flare tools that might slow him down. Energy attachment, that is really the best turn you can ask for.
Absolutely. Yeah, this mirror match is all about who gets that first Virizion EX, who can start setting up their whole deck. Emerald Slash for 2 energy deals 50 damage, which is all right. It's not all about the damage, but it attaches 2 grass energy straight from your deck to your Pokemon. So you lead Virizion, you fuel up Genesect, and then you just start wrecking.
On the other hand, Hondo had to start off with that Jirachi EX. That's not who you want to start with.
No.
You want to put him down later to use that ability, Stellar Guidance. It only has 90 HP, but it gets you a supporter card. But when you start with it, you don't get to search for that supporter card.
No. And you'll see a humongous HP discrepancy between Virizion EX and Jirachi EX. But Jirachi, even with that low HP, is an EX card, meaning that it is giving up 2 prize cards instead of the usual 1 when it gets knocked out.
Right. Now we have to see Hondo, you know, he's going second, and that means he's kind of at a disadvantage here. Whoever gets the first Emerald Slash in this mirror match usually ends up winning. So Hondo cannot afford to lose his tempo at all. He needs to get a Virizion EX down this turn, start powering up for that Emerald Slash, and I think he realizes that.
Yeah, this very well could get gross very early in.
Yeah, we see he has an Ultra Ball, so he will be able to grab Virizion EX, but it's a painful discard here. He has to discard 2 of his cards to play this Ultra Ball. Looks like he's going to go...
You can see how slowly he's going with that drop.
He knows that none of these options are good. He needs to keep the grass energy in his hand to attach. He needs to keep a supporter card for next turn. So it's just, what does he throw away?
Is that a switch and a Muscle Band?
Yep.
I can't... And he really wants to switch to sort of duck out if he wants to attack right away. You could see it hurt him.
Yeah, those are 2 cards he would love to just play down right here, but Ultra Ball requires you to discard 2 cards there, so it's just one of the drawbacks. Every deck pretty much plays Ultra Ball. It's just the most consistent way to find the Pokemon you need, but in this situation, you definitely see the drawback.
Yeah, very much like the VGC. Ultra Ball, pretty good, utility use ball. You can throw it into just about any deck. It's great.
All right, so we do see that Virizion EX coming into play. That's exactly what Hondo wants to do. Get that out, get an energy on. He needs to keep up the pace here. Get a Virizion EX up so he can use that Emerald Slash attack and power up a Genesect.
Yeah, with the Virizion Genesect deck, if you get that turn 2 Emerald Slash, that's the land of milk and honey. Turn 3 Emerald Slash, still pretty good. Turn 4 Emerald Slash, that's... Oh, gross! Well, speaking of turn 4 Emerald Slashes...
So there we see the Head Ringer come down. It's a new mechanic, the Team Flare tool. You can actually attach it to your opponent's Pokemon EX, and it makes them pay 1 more energy to attack. So now instead of a turn 2 Emerald Slash, at best, Hondo's looking at a turn 3 Emerald Slash, and that's just not nearly as good, especially because he can't even attach his own muscle band now.
Right. The Team Flare tools, much like Team Flare themselves, are extremely disrespectful. You slap them onto your opponent's Pokemon, taking up their tool slot, and they are not beneficial. Those hurt.
Now, there is some good news for Hondo. Tyler did have to play an N here, so both players will shuffle in and draw 6 cards. He only had a 2-card hand. Now that's going to be buffed up to 6 cards, so he'll have some more options to work with. But
yeah,
I don't think he has any way to remove those Team Flare tools from his own Pokemon, so there's no way he'll really be able to power up that Virizion this turn.
Yeah, and looking at both players' lists, that is a major mirror match card that Tyler has that Alejandro does not.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I mean, Tyler right now certainly has the advantage, but you never know what can happen. This is a crazy mirror match. We've seen it before. Once those Genesect get powered up, we get that G-Booster coming out. Crazy things start to happen.
We have seen some disgusting comebacks, even at the World Championship stage. Even if you start really hard, you can always close out a game with an N, or you can aid your opponent with an N when you, you think it's helping yourself. Right now, N, both players, they shuffle their hands into their deck. They draw 1 card for each prize card that they have remaining. In the early game, both players are drawing 6. So, for example, Alejandro only had that 2-card hand. Now he gets a full new, fresh start for himself.
Wow, so this is actually a really big break for Hondo. He, he's going second. He starts with a Jirachi. The head ringer goes against him. But Tyler, even though he uses Emerald Slash, he has no Genesect to power up. So he actually only has to put that energy on poor little Dedenne on the bench.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's not your usual Emerald Slash target.
No, not at all.
The Dedenne's really in there as more of like an Yveltal counter. Not very good in the Virizion Genesect mirror. Maybe he can polish up a prize. But normally, yeah, you're searching through your deck. You want 2 energy onto your Genesect. He can attach up to 2. It doesn't make sense for him to drop it on our little electric rodent twice, but...
And we see another little difference here, even though these guys are playing basically the same deck. We see a small difference here with this Mr. Mime. That has that bench barrier ability that can block damage done to your benched Pokemon. And that's really important when it comes to Genesect EX's Megalo Cannon, which happens to hit for 20 on the bench, which could eventually finish off that Jirachi.
Yeah, right now, that is the perfect damage where having Mr. Mime down is great. Jirachi is 20 HP away from a knockout. If a Genesect EX ever does get fully powered up, can snipe it right off the bench. With Mr. Mime and his bench barrier, the invisible force field, it's not going to be so good. Now, he keeps looking through his deck. I'm wondering maybe he has a prized switch. He had to discard one. I know he wants to move that Jirachi if possible.
Okay, I think, he had some options to go through there. He could have maybe gotten a switch that might be prized.
He runs 2 and has discarded 1. So it's very possible.
Right, so I think maybe one was prized, or he just doesn't have another supporter. So instead of playing a Skylar for the switch and going for, he has the energy switch right there. He could have gotten an Emerald Slash if he managed to get a switch, put Virizion in the active spot. But, he might think, well, I'm going to lose if I don't have a supporter, so I might as well take that VS Seeker and get back a supporter for next turn.
It is unfortunate. We won't get to see that Mr. Mime do his worst and prevent this Jirachi from hitting the discard pile. But he did at least, he moved all of his energy away from that Virizion EX, the head ringer attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's got the clean one that can attack off 2 energy now instead of 3 with that extra energy cost from the tool.
Yeah, I would say things are probably about to pick up here. Even though Jirachi most likely gets knocked out this turn, sometimes taking 2 prizes that quickly isn't as good as it seems because of that N card. It can just disrupt your hand, put you down to a low hand size, and it can really make a difference in this game.
Absolutely, yeah. N is a monster in the trading card game. You will find almost in every single deck 4 copies of it. It's just that good. It helps you draw in the early game and disrupt in the late. And if you take 2, oh boy, the ultimate disrespect. Alejandro goes through all that work to move his energy away from the head-ringered Virizion EX, and then he just gets a new head ringer.
That's right. He plays 2, so great usage of those head ringers from Tyler so far. He'll have pretty much complete advantage right now. He'll have the first Emerald Slash. He'll be able to power up his Genesect. He'll take 2 prizes, and he'll also slow down those Virizion EX from using Emerald Slash. So he's got a lot going for him right now. He's taking advantage of the situation.
And you can really see from Alejandro's body language, that was a pretty big blow.
Oh, yeah. And there we do see the Emerald Slash. We're going to see 2 Grass Energy out of the deck. Go right onto that Genesect EX, and that is ready to go to attack.
So he reluctantly throws up his own Virizion EX. The problem with Virizion is with that Headringer, he has to attack for 3 energy instead of 2. It adds an extra colorless energy to your attack cost for Pokemon EX.
Yep, and we do see the VS Seeker getting a supporter out of the discard pile, and it looks like we're seeing a little bit of maneuvering with the Headringers, making them more visible. It's interesting because it's your opponent's card on your own cards, so there's an interesting interaction there. But we are going to see the N, and we'll see Alejandro get his first Emerald Slash, and maybe we'll see business start to pick up.
Yeah, you know, at this point with the N, Alejandro, he shuffles in. He's drawing 6 cards. That's like the golden number of cards to draw with a shuffle draw supporter. Tyler, on the other hand, he's only getting 4. So Tyler could very well get like 4 bad cards, and while he still definitely has the board position right now, if he gets a bad enough hand, that could really slow you down.
Oh, yeah. And we needed to see a Genesect EX this turn to have a target for Emerald Slash, and there are 2 of them.
Look how quickly those Genesects hit the bench.
So here we go. This is where the game is going to start to pick up. We're going to see a lot more knockouts here, some more action. We do see the Emerald Slash for 50, but now 2 energy coming out. We got the big boys coming out.
Oh, yeah. It's Legendary's paradise here in both these decks. But see there, like he just having to attach that 3rd energy to a Virizion instead of just slapping it down onto one of your Genesects, especially one of your Plasma energy. It's not super ideal.
Yeah, I mean, Headringer makes a huge difference. You saw that slowed the game down just by a turn, and now we're going to see the red signal onto the Genesect that just got powered up.
Are we going to see the G-Booster?
Oh, my goodness.
Whoa.
The G-Booster coming out. Tyler is being extremely aggressive here. And it looks like he's just going to retreat and blow that Genesect out of the water.
Alejandro's about to get blasted. So this A-Spec card, they're very special trainer cards in the Pokemon TCG universe right now. You can only run 1 in your deck. A lot of players will opt for a card that sort of helps them with consistency. Genesect decks, they play G-Booster. It adds an extra attack to your Genesect, and this one in particular deals 200 damage. It can just fry a Genesect EX immediately.
Yeah, 200. The downside, though, you have to discard 2 energy in order to use it. So he might not be able to use G-Booster in consecutive turns. This might be a little bit of an opening. Tyler does play an N, puts himself at 4 cards. He wants to play that before he takes 2 more prizes.
And whether or not he clears this game really depends on if he can find something like an energy switch.
Right.
That would give him the 2nd attack.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting because I don't believe that Hondo plays any way to remove tools at all in his deck. He doesn't play the Startling Megaphone. He doesn't play the Zero Stick. So he doesn't play any way to actually remove that G-Booster. So he has to find some way to end Tyler, take away his hand size, limit his options to make sure that G-Booster does not happen next turn. Otherwise, it is game over.
Yeah, and he's in such a bad predicament because in order to reset up, he needs to attack again with that active Virizion EX. But Tyler is 2 prizes away from taking this first game, so he pretty much is going to be in harm's way for the rest of the game.
Pretty much. But we've seen N do some crazy things before, you know, putting your opponent down to 2 cards. They could just draw garbage and not do anything for the rest of the game. So you never know what's going to happen when that card comes into play.
When you're down to 2 cards, and also, you know, maybe he whiffs an energy. He doesn't have a 2nd energy and an energy switch. If he is limited in that way, he can't attack active. He can't even attack again with Virizion to reset. We'll see. I haven't seen an N yet, but a Versus Seeker might as well be one.
There we go. There is an N, and that means we're going to see 6 cards and 2 for Tyler. Now, interesting decision. We see the Muscle Band go on to Genesect. That means he can't put his own G-Booster on there. He's trying to set up a 50 damage Emerald Slash, which would set up a 120 damage Megalo Cannon knockout. That means in the future, if any more Genesect come down, he won't be able to put down a G-Booster to just knock them out. So he's making kind of a conservative play here, just making sure he'll be able to get a knockout next turn and maybe preventing another Headringer, but we'll see if it comes back to get him later.
Yeah, it's rough. When you're at this stage of the game, you really just have to play out your sort of last survival tactics. He has 2 knockouts on the board. Megalo Cannon can deal 120 damage to the active. So Genesect could knock out either the Virizion or the other Genesect, both with 50. But it is a long road. And definitely is a good start, but Is that a supporter I see in Tyler's hand?
Looks like a Chorus. So with that Virizion EX, he'll be able to draw 6 cards here. Ugh. We could see an energy plus an energy switch, and we could see the G booster to close out this game. It's going to be some big 6 cards here.
Now, when you end your opponent down to a hand size of 2, and they get to draw the 3rd card off the top of their deck, when your opponent plays a supporter, that's one of the most disheartening things right now. You're like, oh, you know, I played so well, I got them down to this low count, and they got out of it immediately.
So here we go. Does Tyler draw a way to use that G booster again this turn?
Energy switch plus energy is game. I see energy. I don't.
Oof.
No,
I don't see it. No.
Lots of supporters though.
He does have plenty of supporters, and he does have an energy. So now he's put in a very difficult position. Yeah. Does he retreat, attach, and then Emerald Slash, powering up that Genesect again? If he does, then we could see a red signal, and then Genesect gets knocked down, and all of a sudden, there's no Genesect left in play. So now you can see where this is a very momentum-based matchup. It kind of snowballs with how much energy you can get into play, and sometimes when you're aggressive with that G-Booster, it can certainly backfire. Oh,
yeah. Now he really wanted that knockout. He thought, okay, I can cripple Hondo now, and then maybe I can pull it off again the next turn. That maybe became a no. So now it looks like he's setting up to just retreat Emerald Slash, get some more energy, but he's burning through them pretty quickly. And if Hondo does have an access to plasma energy, this could easily switch right back into his favor.
Absolutely, and I guess Tyler has no other option. He has to retreat. He doesn't have enough energy for the G-Booster, so might as well Emerald Slash, hit for 70, grab 2 more grass energy out of the deck, and power up that Genesect.
He's giving up a grass energy from the retreat Genesect, but he does get 2 more from the deck. But look at his deck. You can sort of see it to the right. There isn't that much green left. He's going really fast through it.
If I see correctly, those are his last 2 grass energy, actually.
If this Genesect falls, Hondo just might sweep, believe it or not.
It's a long road ahead, but it could be that way. And we do see a plasma energy in his hand. This could be the start of a big comeback.
It's like you're saying, you can be aggressive, but it isn't always the best choice, especially when you already have the lead. There it goes. So Genesect EX has that beautiful red signal ability. When you attach one of those special plasma energy to a Genesect EX, you just get to pull something up off the bench.
Yeah, and that Genesect already has 50 damage on it. This was set up beautifully. The muscle band on the Genesect on the bench will add the additional 20 it needs to do 120 for the knockout. So this was beautifully set up. It's just going to be a matter now, like it has been for the past couple turns, does Tyler draw well off of this end? Because if not, it's a tough road ahead. That Genesect can just sweep for the last, 6 prizes and make a full comeback.
This is exactly what Alejandro wanted to happen. He was 1 card away. If Tyler just found himself an energy switch, we'd be at game 2 right now. We are not. And now Alejandro, he's got a lot of options in his hand. Another Genesect down. He can maybe G-Booster that one. He doesn't have to discard energy off this active Genesect EX to do his Megalo Cannon attack. And we were talking earlier, we saw him set up the damage with the 50-50. He's got 2 knockouts on the board for 2 prizes each. And here comes the first one.
Okay, now something really concerns me here is that there are 4 energy on that active Genesect EX. So that little Dedenne we didn't thought would do much is actually hitting for 100 damage right now with the muscle band. So 100 can then combo with that 70 damage from Virizion EX's Emerald Slash. And we could actually see 2 turns, a knockout set up by the unlikely hero Dedenne.
Wow, you normally do not use that card in the mirror, but right now, oh man, I'm trying to think. How do you play? Oh, there's the faded energy switch that he really wanted earlier. How do you play around that Dedenne?
Now that was actually an interesting play from Tyler because, if he just kind of left that energy there, he could have an Emerald Slash for 70 next turn and follow up after the hit for 100. So I don't know. Tyler maybe has another energy in his hand. He's just trying to trick Hondo into being aggressive here. But if he doesn't have another energy, that was a really risky play where it might have thrown away the win for him.
Yeah, if Alejandro decides to go all in, knock out this Dedenne, or he can even, if he has an energy, he could retreat and do it with the Virizion, and then it's out of harm's way. Well, unless he has the out to the resetting the Genesect.
Right.
It's just a lot of interesting details. He's going to have to make pretty much a game-time decision.
This is it's getting a little strange.
I'm stressed out for him.
We don't really see this very often. The little lightning guy coming in, hitting for 100 damage, an unlikely situation where there's 4 energy on a Genesect that hardly ever happens. So,
what is it about those little electric rodents that do so well in crunch time decisions? Sagen Park would be proud.
Okay, so now it looks like, I think if I'm Hondo here, I'm going to try to power up a new Genesect. Right, he used the Colress machine, grabbed the plasma energy out of the deck. Maybe if he can find an energy switch and a grass energy, he can power up a new Genesect, one that's not heavily damaged.
He's digging deep for it with Colress.
Yeah, and this could be a big deal because Tyler didn't have a supporter last turn. He only has 1 card, so if Hondo can manage to power up a new Genesect, start attacking with it, I don't see how Tyler comes back without a miraculous top deck.
So Colress, you shuffle your hand in your deck, you draw 1 card for each total benched Pokemon in play. That is 8. He's looking for energy and energy switch. There's the energy. Where's the switch? Ooh.
Nope. See a G-Booster, but that's not going to help.
A little late, yeah.
So now it's decision time. What does he want to do here? He could Megalo Cannon, just take the knockout. In that case, if Tyler has an energy, he wins with an Emerald Slash. That's extremely risky. He could retreat, maybe just send up Mr. Mime and pass. That's another option. Tyler would have to take 2 prizes. Mr. Mime only gives up 1. So there are some options here. I just don't know which one he's going to take.
He could retreat and attach to the Virizion and attack with it, couldn't he?
Yeah, it's only 50 damage, unfortunately,
yeah.
but I think he's just going to be happy to put an energy on Genesect.
Those head ringers are brutal.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of times this matchup, you sort of just assume, oh, yeah, that Virizion's doing 70. You can see over on Tyler's bench, just sets up beautifully with the math. Nope.
And there we go. We just see the retreat into Mr. Mime and a pass for the turn.
Oh, look at Tyler's hand. He has Deoxys EX Ultra Ball. He just passes.
Oh, and we do see the energy switch.
Oh,
it was the next card, so now we could see some pressure being applied here. This game, it started off very much so in Tyler's favor, and then he just kind of got hit with an N. Like we said, it could happen. His hand, all of a sudden, he doesn't have resources. The Genesect with the G-Booster is gone, and now you're just kind of left in this spot where you're like, how do I take my last knockout here? It's really difficult.
Oh, man, and now he's got that super fresh Genesect. Not going to get knocked out in 1 hit as long as Tyler can't set up a G-Booster. We've seen his hand. It's not good.
Yeah.
And N in the Pokemon lore, he's a pacifist. He gets kind of angry when people use Pokemon for their own violent bidding. I think Tyler went a little too aggressive with his Pokemon. He angered N a little too much.
Now we do see the red signal bringing up the Virizion EX. He's going to Megalo Cannon for 100 damage and then hit something for 20 on the bench. Now this is big because now he's down to 2 prizes, and if he knocks out 1 more Pokemon EX, he'll win the game.
Now we could see some Dedenne hero tactics if Tyler draws like a plasma energy.
It'd actually be a little short because of the energy switch.
He retreated, and also, yeah, he only has 2 now.
Ooh, and Tyler draws a really interesting card. He draws a Zero Sick. Now he could use that to discard the G-Booster off of Genesect, and that would really take away any quick win options that Hondo has. Right, the A-Spec G-Booster, you can only play 1 of them. The only way you can get it back is that Shadow Triad supporter card. So he could play that this turn, discard it, and just say, you know what, I don't think you're going to knock out my EXs anytime soon. This will buy me a turn.
Yeah, and with both players, they're sort of running low. Hondo does have a replacement energy, which is helpful for attacking again, but he doesn't have the game.
Right.
It's interesting how a game that seemed so one-sided is now down to both players' final 2 prizes.
This is very exciting. I don't know who's going to win, Josh, but we have an Ultra Ball in Tyler's hand, and I do notice he plays Jirachi EX in his deck. So he can Ultra Ball for Jirachi EX and grab something like a Professor Juniper, get a fresh hand of 7 cards, but then...
Oh, that's so scary.
Who knows?
Yeah. When you drop that 90 HP Jirachi, and it looks like he's looking at it.
Here we go. Oh, you see the Ultra Ball? The Jirachi is in there. Is he going to take it, though, if he puts it down?
How many Plasma Energies has Hondo gone through?
That's a good question. He might be through at least 3 of them, I think. Somewhere around there. I mean, even if he does have a Plasma Energy to red signal, it doesn't really matter if he has the G-Booster there. He'll be able to knock out any Pokemon. So Jirachi only having 90 HP, not going to matter here. It's just a matter of...
He can't play the Zero Sick and draw cards at the same time.
Right. I guess the decision is what supporter do you take? I guess Professor Juniper or maybe N if you're feeling really lucky.
You could, yeah, I mean, if you're banking on your opponent having no energy, you could even, like, Lysander, pull up Virizion.
Sure, but we do see Professor Juniper coming out. We're going to need to see a crazy combination for this game to go in Tyler's favor right now. He would need, like, a switch, an energy switch, and a plasma energy for a red signal, and he could power up a Megalo Cannon for the game, but that's a lot to ask for.
Let's see what he's got. Muscle Band. I don't even think I saw the energy.
No, he has an energy retrieval, actually, so he can get 2 grass energy out. Ooh, we see an enhanced hammer as well. Discard the plasma energy.
Basically, part of the function that the Xerosec could pull off.
So we see energy retrieval now, 2 grass energy coming out of the discard pile. So he'll at least have an energy attachment.
And he doesn't know, but we know Hondo doesn't have that plasma energy in hand.
Right.
Oh, this is nerve-wracking. First game, I wasn't ready for this. I was thinking, you know, simple mirror matches. Oh, Hondo started Jirachi, it's all over. No, this is getting crazy.
I think if we've learned anything, it's that starting with Jirachi somehow turns out to be a good thing in the Virizion Genesect mirror.
It's, it might not seem like it, but wishes do come true.
We've seen it happen at the World Championships.
That's the pro play. Don't read any of Jirachi's text. You just play him as a sandbag, 2 prizes, end combo. That's how you get him.
Yeah, of course. He's just bait, basically. All right, so now Tyler's just trying to think, do I put anything else down? My opponent could play an N, put me down to 2 cards. So do I want to play these Ultra Balls I have in my hand, get rid of some extra things, maybe play a Muscle Band down? I think he'll play the Ultra Ball just to thin out his deck a little bit, make it so that he has more good cards in his deck to draw.
Yeah, discarding an Ultra Ball alongside with it. He's just, you know, if anything, pull out a Genesect so I don't draw that Genesect next turn, something like that. It's a common play. You want to just thin your deck out for consistency, and that's what we see.
Right, I was actually surprised last turn that Tyler didn't use Entrainment to search out a couple of Pokemon and thin out his deck a little bit. He could have grabbed 2 basic Pokemon. I think he might have forgotten about it.
He chose to pass. You know, a lot of people, you're not using that Dedenne often, especially in this matchup.
Especially not for that attack. You're supposed to use it for energy short.
You know what? I will let you know. I won a game because of Entrainment once upon a time. My faithful Don fan games.
Okay, so this is the make or break turn right here. We see an Ultra Ball. I think Hondo's going to use that to kind of look through his deck and see if he has plasma energy left.
Is that a Sycamore in hand, too?
Yes. And
oh, there it is. I see. Oh, boy. It's going to be make or break on this draw. He's going to grab a Pokemon if he can. There might not have even been one.
None left. I think he's counting how many cards he has. He's trying to determine what his odds are. If he draws 7 cards here, he's going to draw most of his deck. He just needs to draw plasma energy.
It looks like a 50-50 or even better for him. I don't know the exact count, but he's drawing 7 straight from the deck off of Sycamore. He needs plasma energy or bust.
I like his odds here. I don't know. Will he draw here? 7 cards.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He got it. He got it.
Number 5 is the lucky number today, folks. We see the
Hondo,
plasma energy for
Mamba
red
number
signal.
5.
And there we go. G-booster for the game, and Alejandro Luna makes a huge comeback. Wow.
Oh, man. Oh, wow. He even had, it looked like the escape rope, or was that a prize?
Oh, yeah, that was another way to win, too. Escape rope forcing an EX off of the bench to an active spot.
Look at that pile of cards. He can't even believe it. And you can just see the look of utter disgust on Tyler's face right now.
That last game speaks to how great of a player Hondo is. Like I said before, he is one of the up-and-coming players in the game. He kept his composure even through that entire horrendous start and made that big comeback.
If there's anything I've learned from my interactions with Alejandro, he is so calm, so chill. I have never seen this man buckle under pressure. I've seen him shake his head in disgust, but he played that game out when I think a lot of other players in this best 2 out of 3 format, they might have just scooped.
Sure.
Okay, game over. I think one really big thing, too, very early in the game, Tyler had that first Emerald Slash, but no Genesect to attach to.
Right.
That ended up being pretty pivotal. This time, he has the Genesect. He's got the mouse, too, but he's not Emerald Slashing to that. I can tell you that right now.
Right. And now we see once again Alejandro not starting with Virizion EX. That's a big deal here. You want to start with it so it can be your active Pokemon in Emerald Slash turn 2, but Again, starting with a different Pokemon, this time Genesect, so he'll need something like a switch to get it into the active spot.
Yeah, and that's why both players, they're running the full 4 Virizion EX. You want to maximize that consistency. You want to see that as your opener every single time. It's so good.
Now, something I want to see here, if Hondo can get a muscle band down on his Virizion EX, that'll be big. But no, once again, he leaves himself open to that head ringer. We could see it come out again. It's just a matter of does Tyler have it.
Yeah, there's so many interesting interactions with those cards. You can only have one Pokemon tool card attached at a time to your Pokemon. And so if Tyler is able to sort of snipe down his Team Flare tools, that means Alejandro can't stop one of his own. You
can see how calm he is, pulling out the stick of gum, just chewing the gum, just hanging out. He's not feeling any pressure here.
Tyler, on the other hand, you can sort of see he has a very intense focus. Winning this game is a big deal.
Yeah, extremely different mentalities here. If you're on Hondo's side, you're thinking, well, maybe I just want to play this game long enough where the time runs out and I'll win the match 1-0. Right?
Yeah.
If the second game doesn't finish, he'll win the match. Or, I mean, he's just like, I either want to take as long as possible or we're going to try to win this game. Whereas Tyler, you have a lot of pressure. If you want to get a win here, you have to win 2 games in a pretty small amount of time. So there's a lot of pressure on him. If you're Hondo, you'll probably just sit back a little and let the game come to you.
This is something I just want to throw out there. It just occurred to me. A lot of people are probably wondering, like, why on earth are you guys calling him Hondo? He goes by Hondo often. We're not just we can read now. It's the whole Alejandro, but he usually just goes by Hondo.
Right.
Saves himself a couple syllables. So if you ever see him, just say, "Hey, Hondo."
Yeah, he doesn't like Alejandro very much. All right, so we do see an Ultra Ball for Jirachi EX, and that's actually going to be followed up by Skyla for Professor's Letter. I think Tyler was just trying to make a decision. You know, all he had was Skyla and Ultra Ball. He wanted an Ultra Ball first. Let's make sure I have Jirachi in my deck so I can get a supporter for next turn. Now I can use my Skyla for the Professor's Letter to get the energy for Emerald Slash.
And there we see that's what he wanted last game. Genesect down, Emerald Slash, Double Grass, Genesect.
Yep, that is exactly what he wants.
Now, much to Alejandro's relief, or Hondo's, he did not get hit with that head ringer. So if he does have, a switch and the energy, he can Emerald Slash this turn.
Yeah, this will be a pretty big moment, I think. So big that he's actually going to play that Professor's Sycamore instead of the N. He knows he needs
2 Ns he dumps.
Yeah, he knows he needs some kind of a switching card here. So looks like
Escape Rope.
All right,
does it? I mean that gives him the Emerald Slash, but it also means he can't drop that damage exactly where he wants it.
Right, and Dedenne the hero might come up again and just take a hit, take the sacrifice.
This time as a bullet sponge. You know what? No muscle band, right? Too.
Doesn't look like it.
In hand. Wow.
So this is big because all of Tyler's attackers are Pokemon EX. They give up 2 prizes. The only non-EX in his entire deck is that Dedenne. And, I mean, when you give up 1 prize and your opponent has to take them in chunks of 2 after that, they effectively have to take 7 prizes in a game to win.
The 7-prize game has become so big with the reintroduction of these 2-prize EX Pokemon.
Yep.
It's brutal. This is, I don't want to say a wasted attack. It could maybe be changed if he ends up getting some kind of Megalo Cannon and knocking it out on the bench. But at the moment, it's not working in his favor. He would have preferred a switch over the Escape Rope.
Absolutely. You want to get the damage on a Virizion or Genesect, so you can simply Megalo Cannon for the knockout. That's a big part of the mirror match, and now you might have to rely more on that G-booster than usual.
So Tyler now using Jirachi, theoretically, for its intended purpose, Stellar Guidance. Searches his deck, and he gets to grab a supporter card.
So it looks like he's going to be searching for a supporter card here. He has a weird choice. He doesn't know. He hasn't figured out if Hondo plays Startling Megaphone or Zero Sick yet. He has a G-booster in his hand. So he could either put down the G-booster and grab a Juniper and play the hand out. He's actually favoring the N. He doesn't want to put it down, doesn't want to get it discarded, so he's going to play the N to shuffle it back into his deck. So interesting mechanics going on here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice conservative play, and, maybe he gets something like Muscle Band plus Plasma Energy, and he can wipe out Bench Genesect. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think he's just kind of scared. It shows you how important the G-Booster is. He's scared that it's going to be discarded before he can use it. And
the funny thing is Alejandro actually runs nothing to discard.
Exactly, yeah. And he doesn't know. You don't know your opponent's deck list. You don't know what they run.
Only we do.
Yeah.
It's so funny, though. Sometimes you can get away with that as a deck builder. You just sometimes assume, okay, well, that's what we call staple card. That's in every deck.
Right.
Every Genesect runs away to every deck runs away to discard tools, and sometimes you don't.
Sometimes players cut corners to fit other cards, assuming that their opponent will assume that they are running the regular cards. So all sorts of mind games here at the highest level of play.
So I'm looking, Tyler, he runs just the one Shadow Triad. That's his only way to get back of G-Booster if he did lose it.
Right. Of course, we do have the VS Seeker that can get back the Shadow Triad.
That card's so good.
All
VS
sorts
Seeker,
of combos.
Yeah, just a regular item. Allows you to reset supporters. We saw it with Alejandro last game. Reset an N. Even though he's got 2 N in the discard pile right now, he can still play forward this game.
Okay, what is happening here? Tyler is using Emerald Slash, and I do not see a single grass energy in his deck.
Wait, what?
There's none left. 1
in the discard, 1 in hand, 4 in play.
You know what that means? There are 4 prized. Or just a bunch in his hand. He Emerald Slashes and gets no grass energy out of his deck.
I think there's 6. So it's a 3 prize, but that's still very unlucky.
That's ridiculous. An Emerald Slash for no energy this early in the game?
Wow.
That's going to be a huge blow for him, and this is a huge opportunity.
It's a very, very small difference. Tyler only runs 9 grass energy in his full deck. Alejandro's running 10. Sometimes that 1 energy is a very, very big deal.
Yeah, this could be an enormous turn here if we could see, well, it's not going to happen, but we could have seen a red signal and then a G-Booster to knock out the Genesect with the 2 grass energy, and then there just would have been no grass energy left. Genesect's not attacking you. We do have energy retrieval, but you can't take that out of the deck.
Right.
So that was just a big missed opportunity there from Tyler. I mean, it's not his fault. There's just a bunch of grass energy in his prize cards, which is an unfortunate part of the game. But wow, that's just another. It's a nice break for Hondo.
It's one of those things. You get a lot of opportunities to look through your deck. And I think a lot of times you don't want to, especially right now, you want to play as quickly as possible. Try and close this game out. You maybe just while flipping through think, okay, well, I've got more grass in here. I don't need to look. But he didn't.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, there's just not time for Tyler. He needs to just make plays as quickly as possible. We did see Hondo use the red signal, though, bring up that Genesect so he could Emerald Slash, hit it for 50, and set it up for a Megalo Cannon. So even though he wasn't able to get the big G-Booster game-changing moment, he does set it up to be knocked out. So still a lot of good things going on.
So we see a Lysander. It's your supporter card, and it functions just like red signal. Pulls you up straight from the bench to the active slot.
And we do see the Megalo Cannon for 100 damage, and it's going to hit nothing on the bench because of Mr. Mime's bench barrier. I think he kind of knows I don't have enough energy in my deck. I need to use this Genesect now, get some damage on the board, set it up at least for Virizion to knock it down with Emerald Slash next turn.
Oh, man. Yeah, this gets gross if his Genesect falls. He can't very easily power up another Genesect. He can't Emerald Slash again for extreme efficiency.
Right.
He might get burnt out really early in the game.
So another precarious situation. I mean, there's so many little things here that are adding up to being big deals. You would think a mirror match like this would be pretty simple, just Emerald Slash and G-Booster, and that's pretty much it. But no, there are a lot of small details here that can slow players down or just make all the difference.
It's crazy. I mean, you see Tyler, he had the perfect start. Virizion active, Genesect on the bench. You usually are able to get 2 Emerald Slashes and 2 double attachments.
Sure.
You got just the 1. It's pretty gross. So
Alejandro,
it looks like he's favoring retreating to this healthier Genesect.
Yeah. And he wants to draw. Band. Yeah, he wants a muscle band or at least the G-Booster here.
Oh, there's that muscle band. Alejandro's about to make this Genesect flex.
He's been a little unlucky at points early on in games, but when he needs to draw the right cards, he has drawn them. And this is just another situation. That muscle band is a game changer getting the knockout here.
There's no time like clutch time.
And he's pretty clutch, apparently.
Oh, so clutch. Look at now, so he's dealing the perfect 120 damage with that Megalo Cannon attack. He can even throw a little on the bench. If he wants to, he can knock out the Dedenne.
Yeah.
Dedenne.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting choice. He might not even want to do that. That just makes N hit him harder. So
yeah, instead he decides to drop down Jirachi.
it's like, I'm not going to play your 7-prize game. We're going to just take 6 prizes on 3 EXs.
And you know, it's pretty gross. It's like you have Emerald Slash, but you can't. I guess there could be an interesting situation. So he energy retrieval 2 energy into his hand. If he has a way to shuffle his hand into his deck, he could get them back in. It does not look like he does in hand. I don't even know if I see a supporter.
Tyler is not.
Ooh.
It's not looking good for Tyler right now. He does not have a supporter. Emerald Slash, as we know, is going to come up empty. No grass energy in his deck. He's going to take a look through again, see what he even has left. And he's just hitting for 50. He doesn't even have Muscle Band to set up for a knockout. It's just looking ugly. Tyler needs to draw something very, very soon.
Oh, this is gross. Yeah, he is looking over at 2 fairly, well, not health-wise, but energy-wise, healthy Genesect that are ready to attack. He has to attach manually 3 turns to get his going, or retreat, energy switch, or something.
Right.
Alejandro is he's looking good.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, N is still a card in the format, so you never know.
It will never leave. It just keeps getting new reprints.
But it's just, as we saw last game, an incredible disruption card. It could certainly slow down Hondo enough where, Tyler could get some Genesect powered up. Those things both have 100 damage on them, so they're very easy to knock out at this point. And there's no G-Booster in play, so it's not like Genesect is even getting a one-hit knockout on his Virizion. So there are opportunities here for Tyler to come back. It's just going to be a long road ahead.
He's going versus Seeker for the Skyla. Search your deck, grab yourself any trainer card. What do you think he's looking for?
Looks like he's eyeing up that beautiful Aquapolis energy switch. That card's at least 10 years old.
No school like the old school. That's sort of my personal rule. If there's a card that's been printed in an old format, I try and play the oldest possible.
Look at that beautiful card. It's got, is that the Meryl on there?
Yeah. He's getting that switch.
The e-reader sets. Wow. So if he can do like an energy switch, power up a new Genesect, that's what he might go for.
So here's the regular switch. He wanted that way earlier in the game, but right now,
we're going to see Red Signal bringing up the Genesect and energy switch. Does he have another energy switch?
Wait a second.
Yeah, it looks like he has a second energy switch, a different art.
The double switch. Yeah, there's so little that Tyler can do to deal with this mono
brand new Genesect, yeah.
Does he have a G-Booster too, or is
I don't think
or is he just going to go ahead and go Megalo Cannon?
Yeah, I think he's just going to go for the Megalo Cannon, set it up to be knocked out. He knows that's Tyler's only real threat on the board. Virizion, what's it going to do, 50? Yeah. So we'll just power up, or we'll go after the only thing that could potentially take big knockouts on me.
Tyler, I didn't see what he got out of his hand. He could maybe get some incredible play, or like attach.
That's the VS Seeker, so that could turn into a supporter.
He would need, like an attachment, switch, G-Booster, if he wants to clear out this Genesect right now.
Right.
But his Genesect is eventually going to fall. It just looks so bad for him right now.
There's certainly opportunities, though. Looks like there is an N in his discard pile. If he could maybe play a switch, play an N, and then get a Plasma Energy to Red Signal one of those Genesects that's already damaged, he could get a knockout if he also draws a Muscle Band. So he could set up for some big plays. It's going to be tough, but it's not out of the question.
Well, there's the switch, so he's starting with the right mindset.
Yeah.
He needs a lot, though. And it's one of those questions. It's like, N only gets him 4 cards. Do you want to N and cut your opponent's hand down? Do you just want to dig really deep with your own supporter?
It looks like Tyler's got all 6 prizes left, so
he'll
actually get the full 6.
The way it was stacked.
Yeah. His opponent gets 4, which is good.
Yeah.
It'll limit his hand size and get 6 of his own. So I think that's probably the play here. Unless he has a Colress in his discard, he could draw a monstrous amount of cards. But I think we might see the N.
Hondo's got a lot of damage, but has actually never suffered a knockout.
Yeah, and I want you to look at how small his deck has become. Just kind of compare the deck sizes here. Tyler's looks way bigger, and that means, Hondo just has less junk to draw. It's pretty much thinned out to his good stuff. So the odds of him drawing a poor hand off this are probably pretty low.
Yeah, he's been milling through that. And 4 cards is great. Well, not great, but see, like already VS supporter. when you get like end to 2, that's the real danger zone.
Yeah. Yeah, lots of supporters in that hand. And we see another Genesect come down. And we do have, he has the Plasma Energy and the Muscle Band. So he could go for that play where he takes a knockout on the Genesect on the bench that has the 2 energy and 100 damage already. And then follow it up maybe with a G-Booster on the following turn. And we could see all of Hondo's energy disappear within 2 turns.
So here we go, pulling up.
This is the comeback path he needs to take. Target down the energy.
Muscle Band.
That's exactly what he needs.
Yep, 70 damage is the perfect knockout here.
And there we see the Emerald Slash.
Kill,
now he did
look
shuffle
at the deck again. Yeah,
he shuffled a grass back into his deck with the N, so he has 1. And off those 2 prizes, there's a very good chance he'll get a grass energy, and it looks like he did. So this is exactly the sequence of events he needed. Tyler's playing very well here. He's under a lot of stress. It's a very poor situation, but he's making the best of it.
Yeah, he is trying very hard after losing that very depressing game 1. He really wants to close this draw. That was kind of the optimal play. He didn't really have any other options that wouldn't put him in immediate risk.
Yeah, my concern here for Tyler is he has a lot of heavily damaged EXs on the bench. So even if he manages to take out this Genesect, I mean, the Jirachi has 50 HP left. That could be knocked out by an Emerald Slash. The Genesect, 70 HP left, also can be knocked out by Emerald Slash. So there are a lot of targets for Hondo to take big knockouts on.
So he decides to push up the Genesect. It's interesting, you know, like he could grab himself a G-Booster and go super aggressive.
He could.
Get the knockouts and then just hope, you know, maybe I can find a red signal and close the other one out with this Virizion.
It'll be that, or he'll play the Sycamore this turn. We are going to see an Ultra Ball. He's going to thin out his deck a little bit, search through there, see what he has, maybe grab another basic to put down. Or he could grab Jirachi EX for a Lysander.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Just straight up bring a Pokemon out and take a knockout that way.
You don't have to red signal to pull something up off the bench. Now, he does, I believe, only play the 1 Lysander, but if it's in deck, that's not a bad option
Yeah,
either.
it looks like it. So he's going to play the Ultra Ball for Jirachi, Stellar Guidance, actually for Shadow Triad, so that can grab a Plasma Energy back as well.
Well, okay. So there's so many ways. Genesect, it's ridiculous. It has this crazy toolbox and so many outs to just resetting over and over again, pulling up your opponent's bench Pokemon.
This is why this deck has stayed relevant for so long. It's been a top-tier deck pretty much since it came out. It has so many ways to just disrupt your opponent, bring out their bench Pokemon, get big one-hit knockouts. It's a huge deal. Okay, so he's going to red signal that Genesect. That has the 100 damage on it. Emerald Slash for 70. No Grass Energy in his deck now, though. But it does get his Genesect out of harm's way. That's a huge deal.
So Tyler, he's going to need some kind of... Like, he wants to knock out that Genesect with all the energy and no damage. That would be the perfect out.
Right.
He needs so much to do that, though.
It's going to be really, really tough.
It's what? Energy Switch, some way to pull him up. G-Booster.
He's going to need, maybe a red signal here in the next couple turns. Well, he's definitely going to need a red signal at some point. And it looks like time has just been called. So Tyler will be turn 0 here. It'll be 3 turns, so Tyler is 0. Hondo will be turn 1, and then we'll go back to turn 2 for Tyler and turn 3. And if there's no winner at the end of those 3 turns, then Hondo will be declared the winner of the match. If Tyler can manage to pull off the miracle comeback here, we're going to end this match in a draw. So there's a lot on the line right here.
Absolutely. I would not be surprised if this game still ends, fully completes within these 3 turns, but we will see.
Yeah, Tyler, I mean, I don't know, this is a ton of pressure here. You know you have to win the game in 2 turns, otherwise you've lost this match. So we see, here's an escape rope. I think he's just kind of playing out excess cards so he doesn't redraw them. Hondo's going to pull up the Mr. Mime, obviously the non-EX.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't matter. Like, he's trying to dig for a miracle. He's going to need to find some kind of, red signal opportunity probably.
Yeah, I think what he wants to do is play an N, put Hondo down to just 2 cards, and he needs to draw a Plasma Energy here for a red signal. Then he can knock out that Genesect with 100 damage on it already, and then power up for a G-Booster to win on the next turn. So There is a win in sight here, but he needs a Plasma Energy right here off these 4 cards.
And it's really scary because there are a lot of outs Hondo can still find.
Sure.
You know, Plasma Energy, like the Jirachi, is just 2 prizes waiting to happen.
We don't see the Plasma Energy.
Whoa.
That means there won't be a red signal. No way to knock out an EX this turn. And just do the math. You got 2 turns to take 4 prizes.
You can't do it in, well, you can do it in 1, but it's not happening with this current board state.
Not at all. And Tyler, you can see by his body language, he knows he missed an opportunity there. He missed his last chance to take this game. Time has run out on him, and I think he's kind of realizing I can't take 4 prizes if I'm going to knock out a single prize Pokemon right here.
Yeah, I think this just about does it for Alejandro. And I didn't see what he got off his. He has a Versus Seeker. Didn't he play the Shadow Triad this game?
Yeah.
So he could just Versus Seeker, Triad. Like, he can win it on this turn very easily. And he's going to do that right now.
Looks like it. We do see the Emerald Slash taking down the Mr. Mime. Poor little guy going down, but there is
Seeker, Triad,
Seeker for
Red
Triad,
Signal.
Plasma Energy, Red Signal. Long-winded combo. That means Alejandro Luna will win round number 1, 2-0 in some great games.
He goes from opening Jirachi to knocking out a Jirachi to win.
Pretty good. All in all, a very exciting round 1. I can't believe